Hello. Welcome to another full edition of the Narrator podcast. I'm your host, your brother like no other, the one, the only, Halsey Allen, coming to you on this weekend on the Narrative podcast. The Narrative podcast is the home of original people peace, reciprocity, and positivity. Welcome all my narrators. Welcome anybody that's new to the Narrator podcast, may be unfamiliar with me or my platform. Welcome to you too on this great auspicious weekend. So all my narrators, we already know the demonstration. We already know what the podcast is about and what I hope to accomplish on my platform. So just saying welcome to you all. But for the rest of my listening audience, before I dive into the content today, I have to bring you up to speed, give you a brief overview of the Narrator podcast and the synopsis of my content. So let's start at the very top, the tippy, the Narrative podcast. Start with the name, the narrative. I called my podcast the Narrator podcast because it's to my personal belief that the media weaves a false narrative about original people and original culture. So what I want to do to combat that false narrative put out about us is design a platform where I'm playing up our strengths and highlighting us at our best, highlighting and showcasing us at our best instead of our worst, as the mainstream media always does. It's their job to intentionally misrepresent our people, to paint us in a negative light and make us appear a certain way to a certain demographic. They primarily do it for profit, but they also do it for social reasons as well. They want to keep, dominant society in power. And how do they do that? They use propaganda. They play up all the negative stereotypes and nuances within other people's culture to make them seem superior and pure, thus, cementing their socioeconomic stronghold over all the resources. But out of all the people they do it to, they love doing it to us the most. And why do they love doing it to us the most? Is because out of all those other people, they fear us the most. They think their biggest fear is if we ever figure this thing out, if we ever just for one brief second stop fighting each other and united, they're afraid that we would do to them what they've done to us. And this is why they create all these negative stereotypes and play up all these negative stigmas within our culture, for profit and fear. It's like $1 billion a year business into, selling bad news about our people and our bad culture. Generating bad news about our people and our culture. They make literally billions of dollars a year doing this. So that's why I exist in this digital space, is to kind of, flip that narrative, that false narrative that they put out about our people and our culture. So my target objective, what I want from people to gain from my content, especially my people, because all my content on here is aimed towards my people. That's my demographic. Anybody is free to listen to my content, but just know when you tune in, all the content on here is aimed toward my people. But I want everybody that listens to my podcast, my people especially, to realize the importance of sharing positive content about our people and our culture. Because as stated previously, just got through saying, why they create all this negative content, why they do it. People outside of our culture, they're given negative frames of reference about our people and our culture. That most of them have never seen one actual real life original person. Sidebar, I refer to our people as original people as opposed to black. On my podcast, I'll get to that in a second. But anyway, most dominant society members, aka Caucasian people, like most of them have never been around us, never actually seen one up close. All they got about us is, what they see on television, what they hear in the music, seeing the movies, how we're referenced in literature. They don't actually know any of it. So it's up to us to share positive content about our people and our culture. It's not about caring about what people outside of our culture think about us. It's more along the lines of, us telling our story correctly. If you want to tell our story, tell it correctly. And so this is what I want to urge people to do with their social media platforms. Tell our story correctly. We should be posting stories about leadership, entrepreneurship, unity, family, structure, economics, just basically the antithesis of what's being shared and reported by the mainstream liberal media about our people and our culture. So we need to do the opposite of what they're doing, because they're intentionally putting out, this negative image of us. So the last thing we need to do on our social media platforms is play into the negative stereotypes and stigmas that they create about us. Because like I said, it's intentionally done. It's intentionally done to, garner profit and also warp the minds of the masses, including ourselves. They want us to view ourselves a certain way. They want us to view ourselves in the way, the way they portray us in the media. They want us to see ourselves like that. They want us to get us to, internalize and rationalize these negative stereotypes. They want us to embrace these negative stereotypes and stigmas they place over us. So longer story short, basically what I'm saying is all psychological programming and conditioning. It's psychological warfare at its best, when it comes to the media, what they're doing to our people. But, living in this digital age, we're in the unique position where we can, we can just create our own reality, or, tell or narrate our own stories. This is why I call my target listening audience, my narrators. We can narrate our own stories online. So, and how do we do that? We post positive content. We post stories about, being good parents, being good pillars in the community, role models, you know, and lead by example through the content that we're posting online and reclaiming, who we are as a people by the content we're posting online. That's what I mean by, narrator. And as a matter of fact, that's a perfect segue to my tagline for this podcast. My tagline is the Narrator Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. And how do I destroy the negative stereotypes? I provide positive frames of reference. And so, we can all do that on social media. We can all provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. Also, on this podcast, I try to make everything time sensitive. I try not to exceed 1 hour in my broadcast. I want everything to, flow nicely, have a nice cohesive feel. When I first start podcasting, I had no idea about what I want to talk about. I started my podcast back in the pandemic when we was all sitting up in the house, didn't have, back in the curfew days. So that was what this podcast was born out of, and I've been staying strong, staying consistent, making a consistent broadcast ever since. But, when I initially started, I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. I was just talk. No clear beginning, no clear ending. Basically, I was just going off on a tangent. But took a little step back, thought to myself, what do I want to accomplish in this space? What am I trying to do? And I came up with, I want to help edify and uplift my people by providing a service that we do not have, and the service we don't have is positive media. So basically, I want to get the knowledge out. I want to make it clear, digestible, and to the point. I don't want to dumb myself down, but I don't want to speak so, high range and use, high range vernacular. I'm leaving my people behind because we're all at different, learning, we're all at different, learning stages. So, some of my people, we're avid readers, and some of my people are not. Now, I'm not saying just because you're not an avid reader, you're not highly intelligent. There's some people that don't read books are possess third level intellect. Like they're on a whole different level. They can break down, concepts in theology which have never picked up a book, period, ever in life. That's what you call divine knowledge. There's, some of us that have divine knowledge. They getting theirs from the source. But I digress about that. So I don't want to shoot over people's heads, and I definitely don't want to make the content so, simple. I don't want to overcomplicate it, and I don't want to oversimplify it. I want it to be just right in the, just in the medium pocket. I want it to be, highly accessible. You don't have to clear your entire schedule to catch up on the episode if you missed the episode. And, I just want a nice, cohesive feel, a very clear starting and stopping point. So, and that's exactly what I've done to my podcast. I've divided it up into sections, each section got a speaking point, and I try to time each section. I literally set a timer when I begin each section and try not to exceed the time. And the time I have allotted for myself on each section is like 10 minutes. So like I said, I don't want to, go over an hour, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes it just happens. You know what I mean? Especially when I'm speaking about something I'm passionate about. It's real easy to do on the audio platform, but I try to keep everything within the hour. Okay, I told you about. So one more point that I want to make before I break down why I refer to our people as original people versus black. One more point that I wanted to make. About my podcast, like I said, the media weaves a false narrative about original people and original culture. It's intentionally done. There is some racism behind it, but it's primarily for profit. So, they garner like billions of dollars, making us look a certain way. But, there's the business behind it is, that's how these major corporations, create data, create content. They create content based on their research. And how do they research things these days? They research things online. They view stats and statistics. They look at what people are, clicking on, and they look at what people are uploading. So said all that to say, to reinforce a point that I made earlier, this what this podcast is all about is, I can't stress enough about the how important it is for us to share positive content on, whatever digital space you occupy, whether you're active on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, you're a content creator on YouTube or TikTok. So not to knock or diss any of my brothers and sisters that make money in the gossip arena. That's another thing. I try to stay away. I try to keep this a gossip-free zone because I don't indulge in gossip. I believe gossip is kind of tearing our community apart. And just quite frankly, just me personally, I don't have no use for it. Like, it does nothing for me. Like, I've never been that type of person to gossip. Like, matter of fact, if somebody comes around me gossiping, that's pretty much a conversation ender. I'm walking away from you. I'm try to distract myself on my phone. If you're talking to me, you're gossiping about somebody, but gossiping has never, been appealing to me. And as a people, it shouldn't be appealing to us to worry about, what somebody else is doing in their day-to-day lives. Gossip is destroying our community. Like I said, the powers that be, they put together a really healthy, nifty bag for gossip, for the gossip mongers. They make us, believe that's the only way you can earn money online is if you're throwing your brother or your sister under the bus on your social media platform. And so, like I said, this is what, my podcast is all about, showing you can be positive, earn some money, and, you can uplift, empower, and edify your brother and sister instead of tear down and destroy your brother and sister. So, we don't have to play that game. All right, so my last order of business before I dive into the content today on the Narrator podcast, original versus black. So like I said, I refer to our people as original people versus black. It's not that I'm ashamed of being black. I'm black. I'm a black man. I don't have a problem saying that. I just feel the word original, better describes us, better suits us, is more suitable to describe us as a people versus black. Because we were here before every other civilization on the planet. We pretty much mothered and fathered, we mothered and fathered civilization. We are the original man, original woman on this planet. There's not one corner of the globe we didn't originally inhabit. And contrary to all unpopular belief, we didn't get to all corners of the globe via slave boats, especially here in the Americas. Like, we was already here. I mean, the philosophical folk, it's open for debate, but not really. Everybody kind of has their own philosophy on that, but if we're looking at scientific, actual, factual fact, and then just a little bit of common sense, some common sense for like how many hundreds of years slavery would supposedly have went on, that there's no navigational logs to this day that documents and proves and solidifies all these supposed slave trips that they made to the continent of Africa and all these other different places and ports for hundreds of years, wanting to get people from Africa. Does that make sense? Especially here in the Americas. But anyway, so as I was saying, I think the word original better suits us as opposed to black. We are, the originators of civilization. And in that, we originated written language and spoken language. When we created the word black, it was associated with all things positive. It was associated and intertwined with God. It was associated with the beginning of life. It was associated with opulence, health, wealth, pride, decorum, grooming, intelligence. Any positive word you can think of was associated and linked with the word black. Now, as the rise of these other people who we felt sorry for and taught them how to survive, they felt the need to recreate the language. They felt the need to flip the narrative. And so when they got a hold of the word black, they colonized it and they made it mean something negative. They linked, as a matter of fact, they didn't make it mean something negative. They linked all negative things with the word black. They linked all things with the word black. They made it mean death. They made it mean destruction. They made it mean evil, wickedness. They made it mean, dirty, vile, filthy, wretched. They made it mean disease-ridden. They made it mean the end of all things. They made it mean anything bad or negative you can think of for black. Like any bad thing, any negative thing you could think of, they made it, linked it with the word black. And then they went the extra mile. Not only did they make the color black, they wanted to link it to our people. They want to start calling our people black and saying, linking it, going out of their way to link, origin and nationality to the word black. You see, all psychological programming, conditioning in an attempt to make themselves look holy and make themselves, look like they created something when they didn't create something. Make it look like they discovered something when they didn't discover anything. We was already here. You can't discover something that already existed. Does that story sound familiar? But anyway, that's why I refer to ourselves, our people, as original versus black, because the word original has no negative connotation surrounding it. It's only positive, and is reflective of our, and I feel it's more reflective of our people because we originated civilization. We originated the spoken and written language. We originated mathematics, science, um, all different dialects and dialogues of languages. We created that or originated it. And the word original, basically means the beginning of all things, and in many cases, the best. And I'm not saying we're superior to anybody, but you can't beat the original copy, and we definitely are. If we're talking in terms of civilization, we're the original copy. Everything pales in comparison to the original copy. You want that original copy. And we are, as a people, the original copy. Now, also in that, there's several different types of us, several different kinds of us, all kinds of different pronouns. We refer to ourselves, as different, we all have different monikers in which we call ourselves, like, we come from so many different parts of the globe. We recognize each other as, so many different things. You got, this person might say they're Jamaican. This person might say they're Haitian. This person might say they're Trini. Got Muslim, Christian, different political affiliations, different, cultural upbringings, different geographical locations. But we got one common denominator. The thing that binds us all together is we were all here first. We're all original men and original women. We all can, agree that we can trace our lineage back to the motherland. We all have our melanin, aka carbon, or carbon, aka melanin. We can all have that to bind us together, to prove that we, are the original man and the original woman, because, everybody that was here first got that. It's DNA coded in them. So, that also unifies us, is what I'm saying, as referring to ourselves as original, because there's so many different varieties and types of us, so many different type of flesh tones, languages, just everything you can think of to separate and divide us, but we all got one thing in common, the word original. We was all originally here first. And many of us originally in whatever part of the world we live in, we was there first. So that's it for, my theory on original versus black. I'm not saying don't call yourself black. I'm not saying don't feel proud to be black. But essentially, that's my philosophy behind black. And then I also believe in the power of words. So essentially, on a legal standpoint, here in America, legally, when you say you're black, you're saying you're dead. Legally, like go all the way back, do your knowledge, consult Black's law. So legally, when you're calling yourself black here, you're saying you're dead. You're identifying as a dead person. But I digress. I refer to our people as original people versus black on this platform. So, you know, I don't think I'm a know-it-all. I don't think I know everything. There's a whole lot, and it's not my goal to know everything. I want to be ignorant about stuff. I'm on a quest for knowledge, and I'm using this, platform to have you all join me on my quest of knowledge. We can share the knowledge, and we can all enjoy each other's company on the way, during this little track of knowledge. And in the meantime, on our path, on our journey, we want to uplift and edify each other until we get to where we need to be. All right, that's it, and that's all with that. Now I'm going to dive right on into the content here on the Narrator podcast. So as I said, starting off, my podcast is divided into sections. So here we go with the very first section of the Narrator podcast. My very first section is the promo section. In the promo section, what I'm doing is I'm giving original people that own or operate their own business, have their own product or service that they need or would like promoted, the opportunity to hit me up to get their business, product, or service promoted. And the reason why I'm doing that to, do my part to help the original people dollars circulate within the original people community. So while we are due reparations, it's imperative that we support one another. And so that's what I'm doing in this section is just, making businesses known. Doing my part to help make businesses known. It's with my great anticipation that the people that reach out to me for the free promotion, take care of their community that they're rooted in. They hire their own people. They do and perform some type of community, outreach, provide some type of service that their community needs, whether it's with the elderly, whether it's with our children, whether it's with the homeless, something powerful, something impactful. But anyway, we got to take care of ourselves. We got to patronize businesses. We got to promote businesses. Not only patronize, we got to promote too. Because if you feel like, that's kind of high, it's out of my price range, fair enough, but it doesn't cost any money to use your social media platform to promote something. We're using our social media platforms, we hustling backwards. We're using it to bash our brothers and sisters that own their own business. We need to be promoting it. But anyway, here I go, diving into the first section of On the Narrator podcast, the promotion section. If you need or would like some free promotion, hit me up, Halsey Allen at Passion Webmail at poeticpassion.host. In the subject bar, type the word promo. In the body of the email, include, whatever information you want me to know about your business, product, or service. A little bit about yourself. The more specific you are, the better your promotional drop will be. So the more information you include, the better I'll be able to promote you. So once again, I'll run that back. If you need or would like some free promotion, hit me up, Halsey Allen at Passion Webmail at poeticpassion.host. Body of the email, tell me a little bit about yourself, business, product, or service. In the subject bar, type promo. All right, so moving right along on to section number 2 of the Narrator podcast. Next section is the contest section. And in this section, what I'm doing is I'm hosting a contest for Narrator podcast listeners. I'm giving you the opportunity to win a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item by participating in the Narrator podcast content. And the content is a topic, the contest topic. Well, in addition to like tuning in every single week and listening to the content, this is like a interactive way I have to interact with, people to listen to my podcast. So this is a way we can interact is I'm hosting a contest and I'm gonna give you a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item just by participating in the contest topic. And the contest topic is share your most recent shopping while black experience. And to enter the contest, it's 110% free. And once again, the reason why I'm hosting the contest, I'm hosting the contest to incentivize listeners to get you to tune in and listen to the Narrator podcast, participate in my content, tell a friend to download episodes of the Narrator podcast, but just to kind of ensnare you into the plot. So, some things coming up in the future, it'd be a hotline and I'll be able to interact with you on a Facebook Live and all that stuff coming up soon. But for right now, I have the Narrative Podcast topic contest section. So, like I said, there's no entry fee. It's 110% free. So, to enter the name of the contest is called the Chew on This contest. So to enter it, hit me up at the exact same email address that I just gave for the promo section, but the only difference is I'm separating them through the subject bar, so it's imperative you type Chew on This in the subject bar for the contest. So you want to type Chew on This in the subject bar, / or dash shopping while black. If you don't want to type the whole word shopping while black, you can type SWB in all caps, and I know what that means. And then the body of the email, please include your mailing address so I know where to send your prize. And your prize is a bulk supply of your favorite snack food item. Then share your most recent shopping while black experience. And then, of course, tell me what type of snack food item you would like. Whatever floats your boat, no judgment. We're trying to eat healthy around here, but, hey, no judgment, whatever floats your boat. Oh, you team chips, you team popcorn, I don't know, candy bar, cookie. I get a bulk supply, whatever you want. So hit me up at passionwebmail@poeticpassion.host. And in the subject bar, type Chew on This / or dash shopping while black or SWB in all caps. Body of the email, make sure you include your mailing address, your most recent shopping while black experience, and what type of snack food item you would like as your prize. And so that's it, and that's all. One last disclaimer about the contest. When you're sending in your most recent shopping while black experience, try to not exceed 6 paragraphs. I'm not trying to read a novel. I just want to have a brief overview of what happened to you. That's it. All right. So got those 2 sections out of the way. Now on to the main event, the nitty gritty, what makes the Narrator podcast, the positive frames of reference. This section is called the highlight section. And in this section, what I'm doing is I'm giving you a positive frame of reference about entrepreneurialism. And why am I giving you a positive frame about entrepreneurialism? Well, that's essentially what the Narrative podcast is all about, to provide positive frames of reference about original people and original culture. Now, in terms of entrepreneurialism, our positive frames of reference are severely lacking. We very rarely see or hear positive frames of reference when it comes to entrepreneurialism. We have to dig and dig and dig to find information about that. The very few frames of reference we have about entrepreneurialism is like reality television shows. And in reality television shows, they depict this in a negative light. So it's like the frames of references are visually there, but then they're not there. And what I mean by that is the producers of shows like that, where it's like an original man or original woman owning their own business, owning and operate their own business, they play up the dysfunction. And the dysfunction and the toxicity becomes the star of the show, instead of the fact that they're, an entrepreneur. They came from the gutter. They started their own business. They got 6 or 7 different people, groups of people under an umbrella that they built, off their blood, sweat, and tears. But they, for the rating's sake, they'll push all the toxicity and all the dysfunction to the forefront. So what does that mean as viewers? We're focused on the toxicity and the dysfunction rather than the overall message about them being an entrepreneur, about them starting their own business, about them earning 5 or 6 figures a year versus, them, being ratchet on camera. Like, that's what they want us to focus on. They want us to focus on us fighting each other on camera, cussing each other out, throwing each other under the bus, circulating lies, gossip, and rumors, and being jealous of each other. This is like the mental images they want to circulate. They want to keep that programming and conditioning, prevalent. But here on the Narrator podcast, I short stop their grind because I stay hyper focused on the positivity. I'm walking you through an entrepreneur's journey of starting their own business. I'm giving you all the details. I'm giving you, the year that they started their own business, their business module, their philosophy, how they overcame barriers, their kickstarting, campaign, like how they came up with the money to start a business, all the pitfalls they encountered on their way to being an entrepreneur, like what they experienced, setbacks and, all that. I'm giving you their complete story in the highlight section. And the types of people I highlight in the highlight section are just regular people like most of us. 9-to-5ers, they got tired of being a 9-to-5er. They wanted to pursue something that they were passionate about. They wanted to make that their new life's work. They wanted to have purpose, give their life purpose and meaning, be able to, do for themselves, do for their community, do for their family, and, be on their own time, not having a boss, check in with a corporation, asking for time off and asking to do this and asking to do that. And not saying nothing like having a job is a bad, dirty word. There's a lot of people these days in this, this digital space we live in, this space we live in, this go-go space we're living in, this instant gratification era we live in. People want it now and people want it immediately. And they say, like having a 9-to-5 job is a bad word. It's not. So that's not what this section is about. I'm not bashing people to have 9-to-5 jobs. I'm just showcasing and highlighting there's an alternative to having a 9 to 5 job because most of us, like I say, we're programmed and conditioned to not believe that we can ever get off that hamster wheel. So, that's what I'm doing in the highlight section. I'm showcasing and highlighting brothers and sisters that cracked the code, that figured it out, and started their own business. That's what I'm doing. I'm walking you through their journey. Also, like I said, the types of people I highlight in the highlight section are just regular people that figured it out. They didn't have a business plan. They didn't have extensive amount of college training. If they did have an extensive amount of college or vocational training, it didn't necessarily sync up with the business that they started. So there wasn't a specific skill set initially when they started their businesses. Most of them, no business plan. It was all just trial and error. They found a way to make it work. And when they was passionate about something that they wanted to do, they wrote it down and they broke it down in the steps, manifested it into reality. That's what the highlight section is all about. In addition to that, the people that I highlight in this highlight section, they do for their community, they give back, they hire their own, they do some type of community outreach. They either, pay into a nonprofit organization or have their very own nonprofit organization, or do something, community oriented where they're helping impact their community. And then the last thing that I cover in the highlight section, all the businesses that I highlight in the highlight section that coincide with my theme. And my current theme right now is the season of summer. So all the businesses featured in the highlight section, it's kind of, their business is synonymous with summer, with the season of summer. Like one of the first things most I think of, or most people will associate summer with their product that they're selling. And my theme for summer would be, of course, until the end of summer. But anyway, now that you know what the highlight section is about, that's a perfect segue to dive right on into the highlight section. And that's exactly what we're going to do here on the Narrator Podcast today. So here we go. Like I said, my theme is the season of summer. And something people do every summer, whether it's to cool off, whether it's to relax, people take in a lot of beverages during the summer. And it's really an all-around beverage. You can really partake in this particular beverage that I'll be highlighting on the highlight section all year round. But, I think it's safe to say like a high amount of sales, for this particular beverage is during the season of summer. They also have an extremely high amount of sales during winter as well. But, summer as well too. Really, like I said, they sell it all year round, but most people kind of associate the summer with this beverage, especially if you live down south. And the beverage is tea. So like down south, right about now, they're making sun tea, putting tea outside and let it, brew outside, letting the sun warm it up. That's why they call it sun tea. But, that's the beverage that will be featured today, or the product to be featured today on the Narrator Podcast. So the businesses that I'm featuring today on the Narrator Podcast is, businesses that sell tea. So, The first business on the highlight section of the Narrator podcast that will be featured is Hella Tea. And Hella Tea was established in 2017 by one Mrs. Chantrell Edwards. To purchase some Hella Tea, you can go online to hellatea.com. She has a unique journey, but again, because I try to be time sensitive, I'm giving you the streamlined version of her journey as an entrepreneur. So I just basically took out the most important parts of it and made bulleted points. So that's what we're doing for her story, because she had she went through many stages before she got to becoming a tea entrepreneur. First of all, she's always been a connoisseur of tea. She liked drinking tea leisurely with her mother. That's just something they did to bond as a family. But she especially used tea as to cope with as therapy. She used it brewing tea for its medicinal properties. Knows some teas have a calming effect, and she needed it. She went through some heavy trauma with the shooting death of her younger brother, who got gunned down and killed at the age of 17. She's originally from Texas, but she moved out to Oakland, California. When she got there, she attended Mills College. She earned a degree in sociology. She worked at many different places. She worked for Clorox. She worked for Intel. She spent 25 years in healthcare. But as for tea, like I said, she used it as a coping mechanism. With the shooting death of her younger brother got her into hip hop. And this was what, kind of separates her from other brands is, everything is hip hop themed. So like all her tea blends are named after hip hop artists or moments in hip hop. So she got blends named after Nipsey Hussle. She got a blend named after E40. Just anything that has to do with hip hop culture, and kind of, I'm gonna say sadly, I don't try to bash or denigrate her brothers and sisters on the Narrator podcast, but I'll say it, because I also keep it real on the Narrator podcast. But she even got a flavor in homage to, what's the sister's name? Vice President. Kamala Harris. It's a chamomile tea. So it's like a play on words for Kamala Harris. Let me punch up her menu right quick, because I don't got it in front of me. Hella tea. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. Hella tea. It's in Oakland, California. So she got a Nipsey Hussle flavor. She got a MC Hammer flavor. She got Sheila T, like Sheila E, Sheila T. Nothing but gangsta, party, everything's a play on words. So it's either a hip hop song or an actual hip hop artist that she, names her tea blends after. She got a flavor called 180 7 proof, get it? And I think that's an homage to Spice One, because it's in Oakland, California. It's in the Bay Area. He's a Bay Area rapper. He had a song called 187 Proof, or I think the album was named 187 Proof. She got another tea blend in homage to Digital Underground, the hump, get it? Hump tea hump, because she sells tea. So like a lot of unique flavors, with heavy hip hop themes. She got a flavor called another one. I just saw one. I thought that was real kind of cute, I guess. Nips Tea Hustle. Let me see. Probably that'll help you all. Yeah, she got like a whole bunch. She got about 20 products. And all of them, they come up with they got a cassette tape on the front. So she's a hip hop connoisseur. She's like a hip hop junkie. Okay, here's Kamala Harris. It's a cameo tea. It's called Kamala Harris. Like, get it? Because it's cameo milk tea, but it's Kamala. It's named after the Vice President Kamala Harris. And then she got one kind of named after E40. He's from the Bay. Sick Wit. No, it's just called Sick With It. There's no T put in there. But most of her teas, is hip hop themed, but it has a T put in there. Oh yeah, here's another hip hop group to the Bay Area. I think there was the RBL Posse, Don't Give Me No Bam or Weed. But here she got a flavor called Don't Give Me No Bam or Tea. And then she got one, who is an homage to the Souls of Mischief, 93 till infinity. You did? Infinity because it's T, but they had a song called 93 until infinity, 93 till Souls of Mischief. But it's a very clever, thought out marketing strategy. So, it's family owned and operated. She gives back to the community. She's a fan of hip hop. So she gives back like that. Whole lot of artists support her brand. Whole lot of local patrons support her brand. So she gives back to the community, whatever, the community needs in Oakland. She's like, uses her business to give back. So that's, why she got featured on the highlight section of the Narrator podcast. She's doing for her community. And she's, promoting the healing process through her products. And, tea is very therapeutic. Got a lot of health benefits, and it's really good for your mind. And we are trauma-laden people. So, sipping on some tea could save lives. But anyway, join me in giving up the warmest Narrative podcast round of applause for Miss Chantrell Edwards and her product, Hella Tea. product here on the Narrator podcast in the highlight section is Good Thoughts Tea Company. And to get Good Thoughts Tea Company, it's by one Miss Ebony McLeod in 2014. To purchase that, you go to www.goodthoughtstea. The name of the brand is called Good Thoughts Tea Company. And company is just C-O. They don't spell out the whole word company. So it's Good Thoughts Tea Co. And to purchase it, you go to www.goodthoughtstea.com. And the quickest way to do that is follow them on Facebook, because for some odd reason, when you type it into the browser, the link will come up as broken. So you would have to go to like the Facebook and type in Good Thoughts Tea, and then on their website, on the Facebook website, then you go to the link and click it. But basically, her tea experience is more on the therapeutic side of it. So she herself is a Reiki certified Reiki healer and Akashic Records reader. And for those that don't know, the Akashic Records is inside of you. So this is like something comedic. So do yourself the hugest favor and bone up on the Akashic Records, all original people. This is a library dwelling within inside you, and we're the only people on the planet with Akashic Records. So, so she's certified in that area, and that's how she uses her product and centers everything in her product to learn how to tap into that realm. So her brand is more of the esoteric side of it. She established her business in 2014. There wasn't a whole lot of data what prompted, her into doing so. She also has a series called I think it's called a AO series in 2016. This is like, her journey into Reiki healing. Let me go look it up to make sure I don't want to put out false information. Okay, so here we are at the Good Thoughts Tea. Okay, so she wants to create a story with teas, conversations. Okay, I might have to go to about her story. The story, might specifically. Alright. I think I might have. Yeah, I think I did. Oopsie. Yeah. Uh-oh, I made a little oversight. That's not her. Yikes. Sorry, guys. Ooh, let me see. Yeah, I took down the wrong information for that. Let me see. I made a super boo-boo. Yeah, where was that other tea? No, I got it right. Huh. Okay. I don't know why I thought I had it wrong. I don't know. It says something different when you go to the site. Just make sure I'm like, da da da, good things. All right. Okay, so our goal is to make internal self-preservation accessible and affordable as possible without compromising quality, what we're seeking. They're in the Boxville and Bronzeville neighborhood of Chicago. Good thoughts. Okay, here she is. Creative Good Thoughts, certified Reiki practitioner, Akashic Records reader. She spent several years creating sacred experiences for women of color, specifically black women, by way of tea and spiritual services. She started because she was fascinated by the way her grandmother made sweet tea. She was so amazed at how a couple bags of tea could create such brown goodness. She embarked on a spiritual journey and led her to wanting to offer parts of her own energy. Thus, the tea company was born. All right. I don't know. I don't know. All right. I don't know. It seemed like it's two different sites. One brand, but like two different sites. I don't know. I'm trying to find out or I had her nonprofit that she had started. I think I got to look at her LinkedIn. I don't know, but I think it's called. Can't read my own handwriting sometimes, y'all. It's called the AO series in 2016, and it's basically like her journey into Akashic reading, how she got started, and everything along that journey. Really fascinating. Yeah, that's really fascinating. Everything around that track. Um, so yeah, her story was a little straight to the point. She just basically always loved tea. It doesn't really say per se how she got into Reiki healing or how she, got with Akashic reading, but it's definitely good. The Akashic records go all the way back to Kemetic times, so definitely check out her and her brand. That's who we are as a people. Um, Good Thoughts Tea Co. by one Miss Ebony McLeod. Join me in the warm narrative podcast round of applause for the Good Thoughts Tea Cole, and Ebony McLeod. All right. So for the very last business featured on the highlight section on the Narrator podcast today is Marbet and Co. And the proprietor's name is one Marla Lacey. It was established in 2016. Telephone number 864-402-9553. And maybetteas.com. Go there. And if you have any inquiries about the tea, you can contact her directly at marbet1@gmail.com. She basically founded on the principles of Southern hospitality. She wanted people to, people drank tea back then more to socialize, and that's what she's trying to throw back tea drinking to, getting more people to be more sociable. I was choking on that word. Get people to be more sociable. And in a sense, I do agree with her. Living in this digital age, everybody's always distracted on their cell phone, or, there's no direct communication. I think that's, something wrong, especially in our community. We don't have direct communication. Like, we text message and we, get on digital media, Twitter, and we'll Snapchat somebody before we'll actually pick up the phone and call somebody. Like, that's crazy. But anyway, she's basically trying to throw it back to simpler times via tea. Types of services that she provides is like tea party services. She does pop-ups. She focuses more on the aesthetics. She has some really good good products. She has some really good loose leaf tea blends, but her focal point is more on the aesthetics. So we're talking about teapots, teacups, doilies, the cart, the traditional old school like tea cart with all the like tea snacks, like 2-3 tier, type tea. And that's what she's focusing her product on. Just, simpler times. And her overall goal is she just wants people to be more social. And you use tea sipping as a social gathering. That's, the experience she's trying to create with her brand. So, I couldn't give you her complete journey because it didn't say how she started the business as far as like economically, whether she did a Kickstarter or what have you. But, for the most part, I try to provide you with that type of information. I try to walk you through the whole journey. But if the information is just simply not available, then it's just simply not available. I can do what I can do when I can do it. But join me into giving a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Miss Marla Lacey and the Marbet and Company. Is that right? Let me see. Am I saying it right? I gotta punch it back up, fact check myself. I don't want to put out false information. We sitting up there looking for a product. Woo. It's Marbet and Co. Tea and Hospitality. Okay, that's the correct title. Is Marbet Tea, Marbet and Co. Tea and Hospitality. That's the Facebook group you need to follow. And then on that Facebook page is the link to the tea's website. And that's the focal point of her business. She wants people to focus on the tea aspect, the hospitality aspect of sipping tea. And then she got the link right on here on her Facebook, Marbet and Tea, Marbet and Co. Tea and Hospitality. Marabet, and I'm still saying it wrong. It's Marabet. Okay, I'm gonna spell it. I don't know. I'm all thumbs with my mouth today. Marabet. That's a really old school name, though. I don't know too many sisters named Marabet. When I think of that name, I'm thinking like somebody's great nana. But anyway, so it's the Marabet and Tea Co. Darn it. Marabet and Company, Marabet and Co. Tea and Hospitality. This is like it's more than a mouthful, but I'm pretty sure for people, purists, the tea purists, they want to just get back to its original roots, which is like to be hospitable. You offer somebody a non-alcoholic beverage. One of the first things you will offer is water or tea. So, she's coming from that era. Marabet and Co. Tea and Hospitality is the name of her brand. And Marla Lacey is the proprietor. Join me in giving her a warm narrative podcast round of applause for Marla Lacey and Marabet and Co. Tea and Hospitality. That's a mouthful now. But definitely go support it. All right, we're cooking. We're almost at the end, guys. Told you I try to keep these brief and to the point. Next section on the Narrator podcast is the Spotlight section. In the Spotlight section, what I'm doing is I'm spotlighting prominent figures within our community. The prominent figures I usually spotlight within our community are people in the entertainment industry, such as actors, actresses, recording artists, comedians, public figures, community leaders, activists, writers, producers, religious figures, basically anybody in the eye of the public that has a polarizing platform, that uses their polarizing platform in a positive way to represent our people. So, people I feel who are deserving of the spotlight, using their, platform to impact our people in a positive way. whether it's through, charity, whether it's through social activism, political activism, climate, whatever that impacts our people in a positive way, that puts out that, positive image of us, or just, the way they carry and conduct themselves in public to give us a good visual image of, a positive brother or a positive sister to impact us, in that retrospect. So, having said that, the goal of the Spotlight section is to put out the, positivity in the atmosphere, put out positivity in the atmosphere by changing the atmosphere, impressing upon the listeners, how important it is to utilize their digital platforms to say something positive about a brother or a sister instead of down talking them, denigrating them, dragging them through the mud, saying something, using their platform to say something negative about them, attacking a brother or sister through their digital platform, rather than saying something nice and something uplifting about them. Because again, like I said, it's all psychological programming. Powers that be got us believing the only way we can make money is, using our platforms to down talk each other, to, drag each other through the mud, air out dirty laundry, and go back on Facebook and Twitter, just always downing each other, saying something negative, using, social media to attack each other instead of, build each other up. And not saying we all have to like each other. We don't have to like each other, but we definitely do have to respect one another. We are the only group of people that doesn't use our digital platforms to respect one another. Like, we got to start learning how to agree to disagree civilly. Like, you don't have to agree with everything I say. I don't have to agree with everything you say, but what I don't got the right to do is go on my social media platform and air out dirty laundry about you, just like you don't got the right to go on your social media platform and air out dirty laundry about me. And we are the only people that do that. Like, you don't see that in the Spanish community, you don't see that in the Italian community, you don't see people going back and forth in the comment section in no other community but ours. So I want to put out the healthy habit in the atmosphere, in this digital atmosphere, of saying something positive about your brother and about your sister. That's what the Spotlight section is all about. And then, to my own credit, I believe I have started the trend for spotlighting. Because before I added the Spotlight section to my platform, the Narrator podcast, nobody was spotlighting anybody. Now, every time you go on YouTube, every time you go, listen to whatever podcast that you like to listen to online, wherever you get your podcast from, everybody got a spotlight section now. Now everybody's spotlighting somebody when somebody has a guest for their, podcast or YouTube or TikTok. When they're interviewing somebody, they'll start out today's spotlight is on so-and-so. Today we'll be spotlighting so-and-so, such and such. And nobody was doing that before I added a spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrative Podcast. Me, Halzie. So I got to give a warm Narrative Podcast round of applause for myself. And then why not an air horn too?
listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In the real way. All right, moving right along though. Yeah, so like as the old saying goes, imitation is the best form of flattery, and all these people with spotlight sections now that wasn't spotlighting anybody, they're real flattering to your brother. Like that was my overall takeaway. I just wanted to put it out in the atmosphere. We can celebrate each other without tearing each other down all the time. So that's it, and that's all. That's why I created the spotlight section. I'm seeing so many people online now celebrating the culture, you know, having celebratory moments, congratulating us rather than tearing each other down. So that makes me feel good, even if nobody, you know, shouts me out or, you know, acknowledges that they listen to me and my platform. The proof's in the pudding because everybody's spotlighting now. But anyway, keeping it going right along. On the spotlight section on the Narrator Podcast this weekend, we are spotlighting a young DJ. She goes by the name DJ Annie Red, and she was 8 years old when she started. She is now 13. And what's propelling this young lady to get behind the ones and twos and use her craft, other than just the simple fact that she loves to DJ, she's on a mission to, you know, combat bullying. She's an anti-bullying crusader. She's been on the anti-bullying kick since age 8 years old. I believe she got bullied in school. That ignited the fire. A lot of people say, you know, especially from my generation, I'm a Gen Xer, you know, we say like people that say use bullying, they wimps and they wussies and whatnot, and we didn't have meditation and all these other, you know, new wave practices when we was in school, you know, and they're wimps for talking about bullying because bullying builds character. I say a lot of my people from my generation are full of it because this is why a whole lot of us are emotionally scarred now because we didn't have anti-bullying programs when we were in school. Like, there's a whole lot of us out there. I never got bullied. I really didn't when I think about it. I got roasted. I wouldn't call it bullying. I don't think it's nothing that traumatized me. I'm aware of all my flaws, but I got off light. Looking back how I came up, I got off slight. I had my little share of fist fights and whatnot, but I can't say nobody jumped me. I can't say like, you know, somebody, like I know people that got kicked out the locker room butt naked and beat with a you know, pillowcase full of soap. Like I know people like that. You know, they got them horror stories about school and like got pelted with rocks and beat up and all that. Like I didn't go through none of that in my childhood, but a lot of people did. They have emotional, you know, baggage and emotional scarring and all that's from bullying. A whole lot of people sitting in the penitentiary now that has committed violent crimes. It's because they got bullied, you know, when you trace it back, because they got bullied in school. So bullying has no place, you know. When people bully, I did my fair share of bullying. I'm not proud of it. I used to bully a whole bunch of people, like. it wasn't never no mean spirited like take your lunch money and you know, it was just like jerk stuff like, oops, knock the books out your hand, flick you in the earlobe. I was that guy. You know, nothing really, it was just more irritating stuff I did. It wasn't nothing that would make you want to fight me. It was just like, bruh, who does that type stuff that I used to do? But by these standards, it would be called bullying. I would say I was irritating when I was in school. I wasn't, I mean, by these standards, it would be called, you know, bullying, but back then it was just annoying, irritating. But we do need people to champion bullying. I think this generation has it worse than we did because we didn't have social media in the 80s and the 90s. We didn't have no Twitter. We didn't have no TikTok and all that they have to endure now. When they publicly humiliate you, they pull their cell phone out and they put it on their Facebook, they put it on YouTube, they put it on Twitter, on anything to get hits and likes and views. And they'll do like really mean-spirited stuff like beat people up, like, you know, pull these little pranks, and that can emotionally scar somebody. But, you know, congratulate this young sister for using her digital platform to champion bullying. All right. To my next section. My next section is the health and wellness section. And the health and wellness section is what it's designed to do. It's self-explanatory. It's health and wellness. I give tips about health and wellness in this section. Like I said previously, all the information that I share on the Narrator podcast, anybody from, you know, any cultural background is free to listen to. I don't hate anybody. I don't exclude anybody, but all my content that, you know, is available on the Narrator podcast is aimed and directed towards my people, especially in this section, the health and wellness section, because while we are, they say spiritually all, you know, beings on the planet are connected. While, you know, we are supposedly, you know, the same, quote unquote, the same, we're kind of not. You know, internally, we all have different dietetic needs. We all thrive in different types of climates. There are things within my culture, you know, that I can eat every day and it will not harm me. It will only, you know, make me healthier. Whereas, you know, there are things within your community that you can eat every day and I cannot. It'll only make you healthier. So, you know, that's my philosophy for the health and wellness section. Just give, you know, health and wellness tips to my people. The reason why I feel I need to do that is because my people are attacked on all fronts, especially in health. They're putting things in our food, water, air, and common products we use every day that are harmful to our unique cellular and genetic makeup. So it's intentionally done by the powers that be. Some of it is for population control, but others is supremacy anti-original people or anti-blackness, whatever you want to call it. They don't want us here, they don't like us, and they're doing everything they can do in their power to get rid of us. So in this section, what I'm doing is I'm giving my people tips to stay armored up in all the areas that we're being attacked. And all the areas that we're being attacked is mentally, spiritually, and physically. So the types of tips in the health and wellness section, you will hear from me on the Narrator podcast, something along the lines of, if we're talking physical, I'll talk about the health benefits of a plant, herb, vegetable, roots, elixir, or something you can ingest or apply topically to increase your health and vitality, or some type of physical exercise you can perform to increase your overall health, mental side of it, things to put inside your mind to maintain your mental well-being, such as reading, such as getting your proper rest, meditation, mindful breathing. On the spiritual side of it, spiritual practices like praying, using aromatherapy, burning candles, burning sage, meditating, and every once in a while, I give you a wild card such as, metaphysics, divine law, quantum law, speak knowledge about the ancestors. That's what you have to look for in the health and wellness tips from me on the Narrator podcast. So having said that, now that you got a gist of it, health and wellness tip of the day is arm slapping. And it's not a super duper long one today. This is in the Asian world. It's called, I hope I'm saying this right, Pai Da Jin. And basically it's just translates into arm slapping. And what this does is this adjust your meridians. You have meridians. These are like points where your energy flows in your body, and this regulates the flow of energy, basically. Energy regulation flow. This regulates blood flow, blood circulation. This helps alleviate anxiety. It mellows your mood. It loosens your joints. So it helps combat inflammation and tightness and swelling in the joints, and helps with flexibility. And it basically it's like a warm up. It's equivalent to like warm up and stretches. And you're supposed to just take and go down your arm, left and right, for about 2 minutes on each side. Don't smack it so hard. Of course, use some common sense. Don't smack it so hard that it actually hurts and you're leaving red marks and bruises. You just kind of tap it lightly up and down, and you should be able to feel the effectiveness of it. And after you're done, you should get a slight warm sensation if you performed it correctly. It isn't supposed to be like you punched yourself. It's not supposed to feel like that. It's just supposed to basically make you feel like loosey-goosey and relaxed. Good for tension and good for stress. Like I said, it increases blood flow and helps combat inflammation. And if you ever follow Dr. Sebi, inflammation is the root cause of so many diseases. So just try it out. All right, here we go. Moving right along, almost done here on the Narrator podcast today. My speaking point of the day, My speaking point of the day is basically just commentary. I'm commenting on current events. I'm delivering my commentary from my people's perspective on, breaking news around the world or news from within our community. And the purpose of me doing that, when I'm doing that, I'm controlling the narrative, because when stories usually break, you already know how the media focus the lens. They try to make us appear in the worst light as possible. So when I commentate on subjects like that, what I'm doing in that instance is, controlling the narrative, because they'll go out of their way to make us look and sound crazy. And if history has taught us anything, it's taught us this: if you don't tell your story will be told for you. And so we got enough of them folks telling our story. So that's what I'm doing here on the Narrator Podcast. I'm unpacking commentary, the current news events. So my first thing I'm going to commentate on is the Titanic sub debacle. Was it staged? Was it, what was it? What went wrong? So while I am a scientist, it's DNA coded in me to be scientific, to think scientific and reason in scientific logic, because our people created science. I'm not going to, unpack it from that perspective. I'm going to unpack it from, the power of words, history, and, just common sense. So it's just mind-boggling to me how dominant society, how they feel just because they can isolate themselves, like money can just automatically just isolate yourself from society. Like, bro, they're coming. Like, it'll grant you some things like 5-star restaurant. You can sit, in a VIP section. You can do things like if you got so much money, you want to be a recluse, you can do things like you can rent an entire museum and you can just go there and take a guided tour all by yourself. Or you can go to another country with enough money and just do stuff all by yourself. The more money you have, the more stuff you can do all by yourself. If that's what you're into, that's cool. Money is not the root of evil. Wealthy people that possess large quantities of money aren't evil. But there are many people that use money in wicked ways and to produce, do wicked things to people with their money and their wealth and their power. And so, having said all that, the original crew of the Titanic that went down, that got struck by that iceberg, where, social elite class, wicked people doing wicked things earlier on in, our country's history, the top tier elite socialite society. Same thing with the Hindenburg blimp. Am I saying it right? Let me see. Let me check it. I got a fact check. Hindenburg, okay. Yeah, same thing with the Hindenburg blimp. Rich, socialite, white people. They want to go to these uncharted places, like I'm so wealthy, I want to soar above everybody else. I'm so wealthy, I want to go where somebody can't go. They literally got this place in Iceland. They literally got this place in Iceland made of all ice. Literally, like an ice hotel in Iceland. And like only super rich people have enough money to be there. It's just like, yeah, it's nice and you can do it, but like, why would you do it? It's completely made of ice. You see what I'm saying? They just how they misuse the money. They just do stuff just to be like, yeah, you can do it, but it's like, why would you? How does that make sense? So essentially what I'm saying in reference to the Titanic sub, like, it's the same principle with the Titanic ship. The iceberg just randomly came out, ruptured the hull of the ship, killed all these evil, wealthy, millionaire socialites. And the same thing can be said with the submarine. They're using their money and their power and the influence to do horrible, evil, wicked things. So the divine source, God, higher power, they don't care. Whatever you call yourself believing in, don't care about how much money you got. You're not going to purchase yourself. You're not going to buy yourself out of karma. Like, God don't care about your tax bracket. You got to pay for that. Whatever you do in life, you got to pay for that. Buddha, Allah, whatever you call yourself believing in, you can't purchase your way out of karma. So why there are some perks to being wealthy, like money does not solve all problems. While money's not the root of all problems, it also isn't, a problem solver. Just because you got some money, like that's just gonna just make problems go away instantaneously. Like it's not an eraser. The problem's gonna pop back up. It's gonna be more prevalent and problematic than ever. And then you're gonna keep on having to use more money and more money and more money and more money and more money to keep hiding that same one problem. Just like another problem that the wealthy is obsessed with their aesthetics, with like plastic surgery. They keep on getting plastic surgery and nip tuck, facelift, they're looking all crazy because they don't want to just accept they're getting old. They don't want to age gracefully. Yeah, so that's my spiel on that. Yeah, it's karma. That didn't happen on accident. That sub tragedy, it didn't happen on accident. There was definitely some karmatic repercussions in place there. And, it's unfortunate that it happened, but, it happened. And definitely not taking delight in, people's deaths or whatever. But, this is what happens when you think you can run away from karma. You can't. You cannot run away from karma. You can't buy your way out of karma. Yeah, so basically, as I was saying, if you live wicked, you do wicked things with your wealth, will eventually come to an end. And so while I don't personally know all the dynamics of why the submarine itself, disappeared and why the people died who were on it. Primarily, most of them were upper class elite. Just that name, that legacy That's another thing I want to make my point. They're trying to keep the legacy of the original Titanic alive when they named it the submersible after the original Titanic. And we already see how that expedition failed. And America got a history like of repeating things that failed. Like it's going to turn out different the second time. Like, for example, they reenact the Civil War buffs, they reenactment of the Civil War, and the South lost. And you keep on replaying that part in history. You sitting up there saying that's Southern history. I'm a Southerner, I'm a proud Southerner, that's why we reenact the Civil War. You reenacting a part in time that y'all lost? Y'all lost. You're reenacting being a loser. So, said all that to say they named it the submarine, the Titanic. They're reenacting the original atrocity. It's like it's an energy around names. So we ain't gonna name the next nothing Titanic. We shouldn't, because there's like energy around names. So don't name the next technological breakthrough after the Titanic. That would be my advice. All these brilliant people who think they can purchase their way out of karma. Alright, so that's all I want to say on that, the submarine Billy. Second order of business, our brother Cube, Ice Cube, he has made the headlines again. He took to social media addressing gatekeepers, and we're not going to act like we don't know who the gatekeepers are, what community they're from, and that they, run what they run. They run Hollywood, they run all of entertainment, and so apparently from his posts, that he shared online, or the clip that's surfacing online, I haven't seen, from his page, just something he shared online about the gatekeepers. He hosts the Big Three, the NBA, his version of the NBA league, and if you're not familiar with the Big Three, it's basically like retired ball players that was in their prime. They retired in their prime, and he's giving them the opportunity to relive their glory days and, put on the show for the people and, let them do what they do. And that's why the fans love it. You see their favorite basketball players play uninhibitedly. By what I mean uninhibitedly, like without rules, without restrictions, without getting penalized for dressing a certain way and getting penalized for what they do, off the court. That's your Ice Cube brings to the Big Three. And, not trying to lecture them or tell grown men what they can and cannot do when they're not playing the sport. So that's his allure of, sports. And the fans love it. And, the NBA, to some small capacity, they love it too, because the NBA isn't as rigid as the NFL. Like, they legit only care if certain community is involved, like the case of Kyrie Irving. That anti-Semitic label, almost no way from shake it off. The penalty for really actually cancer community talking about your business. The other community, they happy with their anti-Semitic. Like, you almost can't salvage nothing. Like, it doesn't stop that in Hollywood. It goes into your business life. You won't be able to purchase, property. You won't be the property that you do own, you know, that's going to be seized pretty soon. Bank accounts are going to be seized pretty soon. Um, you know, there's all kind of foulness and wickedness. That's the only way the NBA can. You know, their motto is just shut up and dribble. Like, they don't care about you taking a knee. They don't care about you speaking on your issues you have within your community, like the NFL does. They just care about when that other community says something. You know, when they start side-eyeing the NBA, then it's, oh, we got to find them. We got to take them down a notch. But other than that, they don't care about young um, original men, aka black men, expressing themselves, you know, speaking politically or nothing else. Like, they don't care. It was a time that was kind of rigid about the dress code. I remember they fined Allen Iverson because of his diamond earrings for the dress code, to try to ding him upside the head for the diamond earrings when he was bling blinging when he was the NBA. But other than that, the NBA is pretty much flexible, or more flexible than the NFL. But as of lately, they trying to show stop. They trying to show stop because they know Cube is about to, you know, he's becoming competition with the NBA. There's more and more players. They're looking to, you know, see how they can get down with his program, the Big Three. Because while he primarily focusing on retired legends, you know, it was only a matter of time, because he's a businessman. The young guys. And that's who the fans want to see. They want to see the young guys paired up uninhibitedly on their court with no repercussions, just doing what they do, living how they live. And so they want to shortstop his grind. So using social media, let everybody know. Really not even letting everybody know, just remind people they're all gatekeepers. Never going to bow down and back down to a gatekeeper. You would rather lose the opportunity than to, you know, fold to the demands of the gatekeeping people, you know, who keep it up in Hollywood. And there's not only gatekeepers in Hollywood, there's gatekeepers in regular 9-to-5 jobs. You got gatekeepers within our community. There's some gatekeepers. Within our own community, you got gatekeepers. You wonder why your project's not getting off the ground and you're not getting traction when you know you're producing noble content that everybody should be with. No, it's a gatekeeper somewhere in the midst deciding who to let in, why you're not going viral, why you're not getting the algorithm hits. This is why ain't nobody downloading your stuff or talking about something intellectual and something that can potentially save your people, not to finish your people shine, and sure enough not to destroy your people. They don't want to see us rise up, because you know, they know that's what Ice Cube's bringing to the table. He's bringing that rise up. He's bringing that rise. Like, I don't know how long he was been. Yeah, so like in the gatekeeper community, that's just what Ice Cube was, you know, bringing awareness to about the gatekeepers. You know they exist in all facets in all areas, not just in Hollywood, but in our day-to-day lives. 9-to-5ers, gated communities, um, they're everywhere. There's always somebody with a position of authority using their authority and making it hard for people to know who is right. It's hard for the right and the just. That's the job. Ice Cube has never in his career backed down and buckled down to the gatekeepers. They called him anti-Semitic way down like the 90s, like the late 80s. They had placed that label over him, but somehow he managed to rise, not anger, with this brand of music without anger, crowd, and not turn around and then say, like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. He's always had that, I said what I said, those who get it, get it. If you like me, cool. If you don't like me, cool. Always bringing that awareness, with him, and they've been trying to stop his grind since the 80s. They try to stop his grind with the Friday franchise, holding that hostage. And it's like now that Tiny Zeus Lister's gone, now that John Withers is gone, people getting the franchise. It's like, why would you want to see a conclusion of the franchise? This is the stuff they do. They sit up there and held that franchise hostage from the people, not just him, but from the people in general, and everybody else. All people, all walks of life, love, in there. Well, the only other everybody here is the affirmative action from the inferior court, the rank superior. So they're ending talks of affirmative action in colleges. So people, those of us that's gone to these Ivy League colleges, really it really affect those of us who had the Ivy League colleges. And then the only reason why the Ivy League colleges want this anyway is to get money, make them appear to be diverse. Now they're just ending it all the way. I don't see that as a loss for us. I see that as a win. I see that as a teachable moment. I see that as an opportunity and an excuse for us to create our own opportunity. This is a blatant, wake-up call that they don't want us to never want us to do in the first place. Because we talk about equality, but in the first argument out of the Caucasian person's mouth, well, you guys got affirmative action, you guys get knowledge, and we don't get, and that's not fair. Okay, now they took it. Now what? Now what's your new argument about the inequality? They took it from us, like they took everything from us. They took our land, they took our language, they took our essence from us. but y'all feel like you guys are oppressed. Okay. But yeah, it's a wake up call. That's an excuse for us to start our own. I think I just on my live earlier in the week, I just talked about it briefly. You know, who had a moment show. It's a wake up call. Don't wait around. You know, give us equality, give us inclusion. And then guys, in there, all up in our business, they want to be included to our business. In our movement, like, for example, what I mean by that, just like Juneteenth, we just had, and you know, all over the United States, the rainbow flag waved high, saying that we are in support of Juneteenth. So like, who is this we? That's what I be saying. Like, who's this we? Who decides who we are? Why is this we making decisions for us? And we know it's not our people of that community that did that. That's these gatekeepers that was doing that. So now it's gatekeepers saying, we want you guys in our Ivy League colleges. Like, not even like intellectual for Caucasian people, or economically, you know, smart for Caucasian people to attend Ivy League colleges. Like, the only reason authentically they attended is for name recognition, because their father or their mother went to the Ivy League college, and their grandparents, and they're going to be like third or fourth legacy of Princeton or Yale or Oxford. Like, it's just name recognition. It's name recognition of, it's not no real knowledge. It's just like popular brand. Long story short, what I'm saying is we need to teach our own children that they don't respect you. They're definitely not going to teach you right. They're going to try to do this time, about everything. Those teachers and folks, they're going to tell our children, you know, not only they can't be, they're also going to tell them they better not try to be. So, you know, it's up to us. That's all it is the opportunity to step up and start our own institutions. That's it. And for that matter, the presidency. Everybody's opposed to the orange guy, but that wasn't necessarily a bad thing, because it opened up our eyes about this, you know, quote-unquote democracy. This farce that you have democracy in America. We ain't got no democracy. Of us under a tyrannical rule as all these other third world nations that come to this country. We don't have any, you know, liberties. At the end of the day, we got to do what our government tells us to do. Like, the choices we think we got, we really don't have the choices we think we have. No, we don't. Like, okay, for example, ownership. Like, you know, you don't truly actually even own anything until you have an allotment title. If you don't have an allotment title for your house, the government can take your house. Did you know that? If you don't have an allotment title for your land, the government could take your land, and you don't have to necessarily be breaking. You can have all your taxes up to date, paid everything off, but if you don't have that allotment title, they can take it just because. Just because, for no reason. So we don't have, like, democracy. don't have freedom. All right. I think I'm gonna put on to my final section here on the Narrator Podcast. People are around things that and this section is called My Final Thoughts, My Final Words. And I call it that because actually what it is just like a little philosophical study. Chew on some of the ideas a wise word, whatever you want to call it. And my final thought or final word of the day I keep on repeating myself, y'all, because my volume is like so it goes up and down all by itself. So it might be the powers that be that from the talk final word of the day is patience. So patience is a virtue. Patience is something that all of us living in this society, this instant gratification, lack patience. Like everything, any problem you can think of can be solved with a teeny tiny bit of patience. Anything. Like this is your life is checkers or chess, not checkers. The board set up sometimes that takes years to make a move. But if you're impatient and turbulent and you want instant gratification, you'll mess around and make the wrong move. So sometimes a great chess player does just sit back and stare at the board for a little while. And that's kind of what you gotta do in life. You have to be patient. All day takes time. Rome wasn't built in a day. It really wasn't. All great things take time. And if you want to be successful in anything, you have to be patient for it. Life's going to present to you all kinds of problems, all kinds of scenarios where you have to think, where you have to outthink, your opposition. But if you're so overly eager and anxious and ambitious, you're not going to be able to do it. You have to wait. Now, I don't mean wait so long that you mess around and just turn into a dry shell. I mean wait for an opportunity. You gotta wait for a sign sometimes. Sometimes you just gotta wait. Good things come to those who wait. So yes, you can't wait for it forever, and there, like when you're launching a business, there ain't no perfect time to start. But then there's also, you must use discretion and be patient. Like I think in relationships, people get into problems in their relationships simply because they don't have patience with the other person that they're dealing with. They have low tolerance for the person that they're dealing with. And they get in all kinds of arguments simply because they don't want to show the other person some patience. There's a lot of grown people who are scarred adults because their parents weren't patient with them. Like, don't you want to deal with somebody who has patience? Like, okay, in the service industry, like if you order your food, you go into a food spot, you are impatient. How long is it going to take you? You know, you come all there huffy and puffy and angry, and you want it right now. What type of service you think you're going to get? But if you play the background and be polite and patient, what type of service you think you're going to get? So, said all that to say you must exercise patience gotta be patient with yourself, be patient with your journey. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen instantaneously. You know, everybody who was ever great, there was great because they had patience. Like R.I.P. Kobe Bryant. He was the black mamba because he was patient. He wasn't a natural talent. He got in that gym and he made himself be great. He went and like sunk all them buckets until he perfected his craft, until he was untouchable. Bruce Lee was one of the greatest martial arts ever. Whenever he wasn't filming for a film, he was training. He was practicing his craft. It took patience to sculpt his body to move the way it moved and perform the type of physical feats it performed. He had patience. So all of your baby rappers, necessarily hit the road overnight. They had to have patience during recording sessions. They had to have patience with your sound engineers and the road managers, and if there wasn't a group with the people that there wasn't a group with. But the key word today is patience. Learn how to be patient. When you're patient, the answer is going to come to you. Just be patiently waiting. Like one of the most powerful, impactful interviews that I've ever seen to date. No cap. Tracy Morgan, when he was on the Breakfast Club, he was talking about patience. And anything in life, you have patience. Like a good bookstore had to have the faith of a mustard seed. You know how teeny and tiny a mustard seed is? Like and look at how small they are. But they grow in abundance. You know how many flavors of mustard there is now? Like, you know how teeny tiny that to become a plant? Patience. You know what I'm saying? Keep on being patient with me and my my podcast, and more good things is on the way. But definitely be patient in your journey. Well, that's it, and that's all. This was the please download this episode and all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator Podcast anywhere you get your podcast from. Also tune in regularly during the weekday as I do random lives during the weekday. I never know what day when I'm going to go live. When I go live, broadcast to YouTube or a broadcast platform that I'm on, broadcast directly to YouTube, broadcast directly to Twitter. So check me out on Twitter and YouTube. I'm on the Narrator Podcast. The broadcast directly to YouTube or Twitter. You won't miss me when I'm live on YouTube. Subscribe to Hallzie Allen. Click that notification bell. And then also on my Twitter, it broadcasts directly to Twitter. So follow me, Hallzie Allen, on Twitter. You won't miss me when I'm live. For a live broadcast of the Narrator Podcast. And yeah. So that's how you don't miss me when I go live randomly through the week. What else I got going on? Oh yeah, I've written a book titled The Black Card. Go support that. Visit the online bookstore at poetizer.com and purchase your copy of The Black Card. The Black Card is basically a book of poetry. It chronicles, and encompasses all our experience. By our, I mean black people, original people, experiences that we have within our culture, about our culture and our people, positive and negative, all in one. Everything we experience as a people. Do yourself the hugest favor and go copy the Black Card today. Copy the Black Card today or get your Black Card revoked. The Black Card, you can purchase that by going to the Poetizer library on poetizer.com. The Black Card, go get it today. And then also support my poetry blog. It's called hallziespoetrycorner at www.mrhallziesblogs.com. My tagline is poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions. And when you read it, you will find out why. They're insightful, witty poems written in the moment, premeditated about what I'm going to write about. It's just like literally just from my mind to the device, or from my mind right to the desktop if I'm in front of a desktop when I'm typing. If it was a rap, it pretty much would be a freestyle. It's just like, just pure kinetic poetry. Go check it out. Hallzie's Poetry Corner on blogger.com at www.mrhallziesblogs.com, and my tagline is Hallzie's Poetry Corner, poetry for all occasions. And when you read them, you will find out why. The way you support it is you go to the link and you share a poem or all my poetry from Hallzie's Poetry Corner on your favorite preferred platforms on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, TikTok, Snapchat, whatever you're active on. my poetry corner, I'll realize for like the visual stuff like YouTube, if you're a content creator, you will have to actually shout out Halsey's Poetry Corner. I don't know what, like, in terms of, algorithm, you can take a crack at it. I don't think that would be violating any guidelines, but yeah, go check your brother's poetry out. Share it to all your media platforms. Halsey's Poetry Corner at www.mrhalseysbars.com. Poetry with a passion. Poetry for all occasions. Halsey's Poetry Corner. Well, that's another full episode of the Narrator Podcast. Join me again next weekend for another full episode of the Narrator Podcast. That'll do it. Until next time, I'm out of here. Like last year, I'm sending you love, light, and healing energy and projecting positive vibes over everything that's encompassing you in your life right now. Join me again this weekend for another cool episode of the Narrative Podcast. I'm out of here like last year. Halsey Allen and the Narrative Podcast signing off.